She didn't sleep that night. The silence of the house, once comforting, now felt heavy. Every creak in the walls echoed like whispers of deception. Daniel lay beside her, his breath steady, his arm lightly resting over her waist as though nothing had changed. But everything had. She stared at the ceiling and counted the seconds between each tick of the clock, as if time could bring clarity. In the morning, she moved with routine precision. Made coffee. Toasted bread. Smiled when he came downstairs in his usual navy blue button-up. He kissed her cheek, told her he had an early meeting, and walked out the door with the same smile he'd used to win her heart. That smile now felt weaponized. When he was gone, she retrieved the envelope again. The hotel name, St. Willow Grand. She called, asking about records under Daniel's name for the date printed on the receipt. The woman on the line said she wasn't allowed to give details. Sarah waited an hour, called back, and used Elena's name. This time, she got a yes. Room 408. 2 guests. She asked if they had any photographs on file. Security footage, they didn't. At least not anymore. Still, that photo, the third woman haunted her. Young, brunette, playful eyes, wearing a necklace that looked oddly familiar. She hadn't seen her before. Not in Daniel's photos. Not online. But something about the woman's face, it wasn't just jealousy. It was dread. Like a warning her subconscious couldn't decode yet, she dug into the cloud backup on Daniel's iPad while he was away. A password-protected folder hidden inside another folder. She tried the usual, his birthday, her birthday. Then, instinctively, typed, Elena. The folder opened, there were more photos, the same woman from the hotel picture appeared again. Not once. Not twice. Many times. Laughing with Daniel. In restaurants, in parks, in what looked like his old apartment. And then one image stopped her cold, this woman standing in Sarah's kitchen. Wearing Sarah's robe. Holding a mug Sarah bought. The timestamp said January 15, 2019. 3 months after Daniel proposed, the robe had been hers for years. But the woman wore it like she belonged in it. Like she'd been there many times. Sarah stared at the photo until her hands started shaking. She needed answers. Not from Daniel. Not from Elena. From the woman in the photo. If she was real, if she was still around, maybe she held the final piece of truth. But there was no name. No clue, until Sarah noticed something in the background of the kitchen photo. A pharmacy bag on the counter. The name of the pharmacy just barely visible. She grabbed her keys and drove there. It was a half-hour outside town. She walked in, heart pounding, and approached the counter with the photo on her phone. Hi. Sorry, strange request, she said. I'm looking for someone who might have shopped here. Do you recognize this woman? The cashier stared at the photo. Then nodded. That's Emma. She used to come in here every couple weeks. Haven't seen her in months, though. Emma. Sarah finally had a name. She searched social media. Narrowed it down. And found her. Emma Clark. Her profile was private, but the profile picture matched. Still had those same mischievous eyes. A quiet fire behind them. Sarah messaged her, *hi. I think we might have someone in common. His name is Daniel. Please, I just need to talk, *. She didn't expect a reply, but 2 hours later, it came, *. You're his wife, ***, yes, Emma sent a phone number. Sarah didn't wait. She called. Emma picked up immediately. Her voice was calm, almost bored. But it carried weight. I figured this would happen eventually, she said. I saw your photo. In my house. Emma was silent for a moment. Then, yeah. He brought me there a few times. Said it was his rental. That his ex was obsessed with him and showing up at his place, so he couldn't stay there. I didn't know you existed until a few months later. Sarah's breath caught. He said, you were before me. That he left you. Emma gave a short laugh. Of course he did. But no. He didn't leave me. I left him. After I found out about another girl. Not you. A fourth one. Silence. I'm sorry, Emma said. I know that doesn't help. How long were you with him? 1.5 years. He told me he loved me the second week. Talked about moving in. having kids. He was intense. Addictive. I thought I found the one. But then the lies started. Little things. Gaps in stories. Eventually, I stopped asking. Until I saw a toothbrush in his bag with a pink tag that said, S. That's when I knew there was someone else. Sarah sat on the edge of her bed, the phone pressed to her cheek, feeling like she might be sick. Emma spoke again. He doesn't lie to hurt you. He lies because it keeps the illusion alive. You don't matter. Not in the way you think. We're not real to him. We're just parts he rearranges to feel whole. Sarah whispered, "Why did you stay so long?" "Because I wanted the dream to be real," Emma said softly. "Because sometimes, lies are easier to love." After the call ended, Sarah sat alone for a long time. She thought about her wedding. The vows. His hands shaking as he slipped the ring onto her finger. The night he cried in her arms and told her she was his salvation. The way he held her when her mother passed. All of it. Was any of it real? When Daniel came home that night, she watched him closely that he talked about traffic. A delayed meeting. Chicken for dinner, she nodded. Smiled. Later, while he showered, she stood in the doorway holding the photo of Emma in her kitchen. When he stepped out of the bathroom and saw her, he froze. "I found her," she said. "Emma." He blinked. Then forced a chuckle. "Sarah, come on, don't lie." He stared at her. "Tell me the truth." "Everything." Daniel sighed and sat on the edge of the bed. Water dripping from his hair. His eyes no longer pretending. "I lied," he said. "Because you wouldn't have stayed if I told you everything." She didn't reply. That he continued. "Elena was abusive, yes. But I wasn't innocent. I cheated. Emma was a mistake. But you were the one I wanted to fix things with. You were my clean slate." Sarah asked, "And the fourth one? Who was she?" He looked away. "I don't even remember her name," he said softly. She stood there for a moment. Then reached into the drawer, pulled out her wedding ring, and placed it on the dresser. "You don't lie to protect someone, Daniel. You lie to protect yourself." He didn't stop her when she walked out. She didn't cry, not yet, because she had done that enough for him. She didn't recognize the town anymore. It was the same streets, the same houses, the same rusted signs. But something about them felt, peeled back. Like the outer skin of reality had been stripped away. Everything seemed too still. Too quiet. As if the town was holding its breath around her. The sky remained overcast for 3 days straight. No sun. No moon. Just endless gray like stretched skin across the heavens. Every mirror she passed flickered. Her reflection would twitch slightly out of sync. It blinked when she didn't. Moved just a second too late. Sometimes it grinned while she cried. She stopped looking. That night, the whispers returned, not in her mind now, but in the air. They slithered through the floorboards. Climbed the walls. Spoke in a language her bones understood but her brain couldn't grasp. She began sleepwalking, woke up barefoot, standing in the middle of her hallway with dirt beneath her fingernails and blood on her heel. Her door was always locked. Her windows sealed. Still, she found a bouquet of black flowers resting on her kitchen table one morning. They were real. Cold to the touch. And wet with dew. Each petal bore the same twisted sigil that had once been etched into her body. She threw them out. Burned them in the sink. But by evening, they were back, this time in her fridge, and then she started seeing others. They never approached her. Never spoke. Just lingered at the corners of streets. In parked cars. Outside store windows. Pale skin. Blank eyes. And faint, spiraling marks down their necks. All watching her. No one else noticed them. No one reacted, but they were there, always watching. She returned to the abandoned hospital one last time. Chains still bound the doors. Windows remained shattered. But something had changed. The air smelled like salt and ash. A low hum vibrated through the building. Her steps echoed too loudly in the silence. Inside, the walls bled, not blood. Something darker. Thick and oily. It trickled from the ceiling tiles and pooled at the floor, swirling like ink with no reflection. At the end of the hallway, room 306 still had its door cracked open. She stepped inside and saw herself lying in the bed, eyes closed. Chest still. Her original self, untouched, unmarked, frozen in time. Skin pale. Lips parted. And from her arm, a long root-like tendril stretched downward, sinking into the floor and disappearing into the dark beneath the building. She reached forward to touch it, her fingers passed through like smoke, and the whispers screamed, pain flooded her. Not just physical, existential. Like something was trying to fold her in half from the inside. Her vision went white. Her breath froze. Her skin rippled as if something underneath tried to crawl out. When she stumbled back, her body no longer obeyed her. Her hand moved without her command. Reached for the scalpel on the tray beside the bed, the whispering returned, ***, let us in, you are the soil that we must bloom, ***. She dropped the blade and fled. Out into the cold. Into the street. Past the shadows that watched, back home, she locked herself inside her bedroom and collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. The walls trembled around her. Her skin burned, stretched, itched. She looked at her hands, and they weren't hands anymore, they were hollow, not cut. Not wounded. Empty, like gloves filled with air. A sound echoed through her apartment. Not knocking, scratching, from inside the walls. She backed away. Sat huddled against the window. Listening. Waiting. Watching the door, then the door creaked open. She hadn't unlocked it. A woman stood in the doorway, identical to Olivia. Same eyes. Same hair. Same hands. But untouched. Pure. Unmarked, the original, the one in the hospital. It moved forward without speaking. Gliding. Not walking. Feet never touched the floor, its eyes bled black. I want it back, it whispered. The room exploded in screams. Hers. Its. The walls pulsed. The sigils returned, glowing, crawling over every surface. She tried to run but couldn't. Her legs failed. Her breath failed. The woman lunged, and Olivia woke up in a bed. White sheets. Beeping monitor. A nurse stood over her. Smiling, "You're back," she said. Olivia opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She looked at her hands, they were pale, unmarked. The nurse adjusted her fore. "We lost you for a while there. But it's over now. You're safe." The door opened. A doctor entered. Dr. Halverson. He smiled too, but his eyes were wrong. She looked down at her wrist. A white paper tag with her name. It read, Olivia Grace, donor. And just below it, a faint black spiral blooming into her skin. The story wasn't over. It had only just been replanted. She drove aimlessly that night, the city passing in soft blurs of gold and gray through the windshield. Every street looked familiar, but she felt like a stranger in her own life. The air inside the car was heavy, like the truth had poisoned it. She didn't know where she was going, only that she couldn't be still. Stillness made the memories louder. Stillness brought back the laughter, the kisses, the stolen glances across crowded rooms, all laced now with a venom she couldn't unsee. When she finally pulled over, it was near a small overlook outside the city. The skyline twinkled in the distance like a world far away from her pain. Sarah leaned back in the seat and closed her eyes. She thought of every time Daniel had said he loved her. Every night he held her as though she was everything. How could someone lie so completely and still make love feel real? Or maybe that was the worst part, maybe it was real to him, in that moment. Maybe he just loved like a thief loves what he's stolen. The next morning, she checked into a small hotel on the edge of town under a different name. She turned her phone off. For 2 days, she didn't speak to anyone. She stared at the ceiling, sat in the shower until the water turned cold, watched the rain fall against the window and imagined starting over. On the third day, she called Elena. "I left him," she said. There was silence on the other end. Then, Elena exhaled. "I didn't think you would." Sarah laughed quietly. "Neither did I." They met for coffee that evening. Two women who once shared the same lie. Elena looked different in the daylight. Softer. Tired. They didn't talk about Daniel at first. They talked about work. Art. Music. It was only near the end that Elena asked, "What now?" Sarah stirred her cup. "I don't know. I think I'm still grieving the version of him I invented." Elena nodded. "That's the hardest part. You don't just lose the man, you lose the dream." When Sarah left, she didn't cry. She didn't break down. She just felt empty. Like the storm had passed but took everything with it. A week later, Daniel emailed her. A long message. Apologizing. Admitting everything. Every woman. Every lie. He said he was going to therapy. That he wanted to be better. That he would wait forever if that's what it took. She didn't respond, not because she hated him. But because she finally understood, some people don't lie because they're evil. They lie because they're afraid. And no matter how much you love them, you can't be the cure for someone's fear. Months passed, Sarah moved into a new apartment near the lake. She started painting again. Small canvases at first. Then bigger ones. Her therapist said it was healthy to express the grief, to give form to the pain. Her art began to shift, from dark, chaotic colors to softer, warmer tones. As if she were rediscovering herself one brushstroke at a time. One afternoon, as she was packing away old boxes, she found a photo. One of her and Daniel, taken just after their honeymoon. She stared at it for a long time. They looked perfect. Smiling. Sun-kissed. The lie hadn't touched them yet. She didn't throw it away. Instead, she placed it inside a small envelope and wrote on the back, what I wanted, not what I had. She tucked it deep inside a drawer, not to remember him, but to remember herself. A year later, Sarah stood at an art gallery, surrounded by strangers admiring her first public collection. One canvas caught everyone's attention, an abstract piece filled with deep reds and stormy blues, swirling into a single golden light at the center. A man beside her said, "It looks like heartbreak turning into something beautiful." Sarah smiled. "That's exactly what it is." He looked at her. "Is it based on a true